So there has been a next generation AI product that is currently really promising in terms of what it's able to do, and this is called Prophetic or Morpheus 1, and it's a revolutionary product that really could change the industry in terms of what we could expect from AI related products. So let's actually take a look at this, and I would honestly say that you guys need to watch the entire video because this is truly some crazy stuff. So we all know that there have been many different articles about how AI makes non-invasive mind reading possible by turning thoughts into text, and this mind reading AI system can recreate what your brain is seeing. We've seen, recently with the rise of LLMs and all of these different kind of systems, that there have been new techniques in order to decode brain activity, and there have been some very promising results. But this is a little bit different because essentially this is Morpheus 1. Now, if you don't know what this is the video for you. So essentially, it's a project by Prophetic AI that is described as the world's first multimodal general ultrasonic transformer, and its primary function is to induce and stabilize lucid dreams. Now, before you think, why do I even care about lucid dreams? What are lucid dreams? I'm going to tell you guys that this application does have a lot bigger applications than you are thinking about, and we're going to get to that later on in the video where I show you guys some insane things that people are doing with really similar technology. And it is stuff that did go viral but didn't get enough traction in the AI community because of several different announcements. So essentially, the technology behind Morpheus 1 is pretty advanced. It is activated by brain states that generates ultrasonic holograms for neurostimulation. So this means that it uses sound waves to stimulate the brain in a way that can induce lucid dreaming, and lucid dreaming is essentially just a state where the dreamer is aware that they are dreaming and it can potentially control the dream's content. Now, the model behind Morpheus 1 is a 103 million parameter transformer that was trained on 8 GPUs over 2 days. And essentially, what they're aiming to do is really understand the human mind and human consciousness and use AI to be able to control that. Now, essentially, if you don't know what lucid dreams are essentially just a type of dream where the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming while they are asleep. And this awareness can sometimes be accompanied by the ability to exert some control over the dream's characters, narrative, environment. However, the dream content is not the defining feature of lucid dreaming. The critical aspect is the awareness of the dream state. So essentially, if you are lucid dreaming, you're basically in control. It's like a video game, and it is something that not everyone experiences. It is something that only a few people can experience from time to time. And although this is a phenomenon that has been studied and reported for many years, neuroscientists do not fully understand how and why lucid dreams happen. But however, it is known that the frontal lobe of the brain is activated during lucid dreaming, which may allow for the control of the dream during that experience. Now, lucid dreaming actually typically occurs during the REM sleep, which is a period of deep sleep characterized by eye motion, faster breathing, and increased brain activity. And REM sleep usually begins about 90 minutes after falling asleep and can last up to an hour as the night progresses. Now, in this video, this is where they describe exactly how it works. And now in this section of the video, this is where they describe how it works. They do a small presentation, and after this, I'm going to show you guys another bit where there's some really crazy and insane applications for this, because although whilst lucid dreaming is cool and it is something that does actually have a giant community, so for those of you guys who are thinking lucid dreaming is just like a niche thing, if you don't know about it, it is something that 500,000 people on Reddit actively discuss and try to participate in. I can promise you guys, this next video is basically going to show you guys how it actually works, and then I'm going to be getting into why this is pretty crazy and the other applications, because at the end of the video, he does say some stuff that leads me to believe that this company could be one of the biggest AI companies if they do manage to.
Hi everyone, Eric Wahlberg here, the CEO and co-founder of Prophetic. Today I am extremely excited to show you what is the world's first ultrasonic transformer. Now, we call this model Morpheus 1. For those of you who do not know, Morpheus was the Greek god of dreams, but even more specifically, the god of sending shapes into dreams. And given that our goal is to induce and stabilize lucid dreams with acoustic shapes, we thought it was only fitting. Now, this is a 100 million parameter model. To give you a sense of comparison, GPT-1 was similarly an 100 million parameter model. This was trained on 8 GPUs over the course of a number of days. Today we're going to show you, I'm going to explain to you how we created this, what are the inputs, how it works, We're going to do a showcase and a live demo, and then I'm going to tell you where we're going. Now, to start, let's talk about the previous paradigm of how neuroscience used to use TFUS. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, TFUS stands for transcranial focus ultrasound. It is our neurostimulation modality. It is the integrated circuit for non-invasive neurostimulation. Compare it to electrical stimulation or electromagnetic stimulation, which is very limited in its ability to get depth into the brain, has virtually no precision, and no ability to be steered. TFUS can get centimeters into the brain non-invasively. Its precision is millimeters, and it has an ability to be steered in a three-dimensional way. Now, even with that extraordinary capacity, neuroscience has been very limited by what we call the statistical mechanics paradigm. So neural data is very complex. When you're talking about fMRI, it's very complex from a spatial perspective. When you're talking about EEG, it's very complex from a temporal perspective. And machine learning architectures were not really fit for purpose. But then about 2 years ago, a team developed something called a neural transformer, which is what we use as one of the key inputs to this ultrasonic transformer. Now, one of the key things that you'll see in this diagram is what was done previously, which is neuroscientists use statistical mechanics to find the area of the brain that was most statistically significant in a given brain state. On the left, you're seeing a whole host of activity, but on the right, where you see the focus verification, they're only targeting the most statistically significant part of the brain for that given conscious state. Now, this is equivalent to playing just a trombone on one note and blasting that one part of the brain and hoping that you can induce that brain state. But our goal here is creating a transformer that can steer not a single element transducer, but multi-element transducers, which can create not one instrument playing one note, but an entire orchestra of neural activity, so that we can actually target the entire ensemble of neural activity of a given brain state, as opposed to just the statistically significant part. Now, I mentioned 3D steering capacities of transcranial focus ultrasound. And actually, it's incredible because not only can you pulse in 3 dimensions, which is, of course, important because your brain fires in 3-dimensional neural firing patterns, but you can even take this one step further, which is you can create acoustic holography. What you're seeing here on the right is an acoustic hologram of the Prophetic logo. It just gives you the sense of the power of this neuromodulation technology, which has been so frustratingly held back by a lack of ability to automatically, in an automated fashion, steer these transducers to create this holography. But we've broken that wide open. Now, in order to build this model, we use a very unique neuroimaging technique. It's called simultaneous EEG and fMRI. This is very unique because it requires non-ferromagnetic EEG sensors, because if you use ferromagnetics in an fMRI, it doesn't go very well. But what it allows us to do is capture a simultaneous data set that has temporal correspondence, which is very critical for building a multimodal transformer. Now, on the left, you see a topological PSD plot of EEG data. So this is, could be theta waves, or for us, what is most important is gamma frequencies, which is this heightened sense of EEG activity that happens during lucid dreaming, which serves as the token for our model. And then here on the right, you're seeing post-processed fMRI data from our fMRI data pipeline, which basically gets it clear enough and creates enough kind of statistical significance so we can take that data and run it through our model to train it. So you're seeing also the inside of the brain and how we cluster those components together. This is the generative ultrasonic transformer architecture. Now, the important thing you'll see here is an encoder block, which is only trained on EEG data, and then the decoder block, which is trained on the fMRI data. So EEG, fMRI. What this model outputs is spatial targets for the neurostimulation. So we take naturally occurring, let's say, lucid dreaming data in, and train the model so that it outputs the neurostimulation targets so that we could replicate the neural firing pattern, thus inducing the brain state. Now, I don't want to just show you a diagram. I want to show you what we've built. I want to show you Morpheus 1. So here we're in a terminal. On the left, you're going to see the EEG, which would be coming from the halo headband on your forehead. And then on the right, you're seeing in simulation software the outputs of the pulses in the prefrontal cortex. Now, I'm going to click enter here. What you're going to see is that image on the left evolve to the next token from the EEG, and the model outputting what is targets, voxels, which are going to be the targets for the TFUS. And so in a moment, we're going to see the right image change, and you're seeing an evolution of the next sequences of targets to be able to not either induce the lucid dream or maintain the lucid dream. So let's give it another input. So again, you're going to see the left change on the EEG coming in again from the headband. We're outputting voxels. Again, we're looking for that EEG spike in gamma frequencies, which is associated with lucid dreaming. And we're outputting the next sequence of spatial instructions. Let's do it one more time. What's incredible about this is, it will be autonomously happening while you wear the headband. And so it's just going to give you this automated experience where you put the headband on, you go to sleep. The first prompt of the model is Eric's entered REM, and then we output the next sequence of spatial instructions. One more time, just because I like watching it run. Next token from EEG. And remember, the prefrontal cortex, the neural correlates of lucid dreaming is REM with the prefrontal cortex activated, which is why we're focused in that prefrontal cortex region of the brain. Boom. There you go. All right. Where are we going? One thing that I want to communicate to you all is we're not really just a lucid dreaming company. We're a conscious experiences company. Morpheus 1 and its successors are not just going to give us the ability to train a model on lucid dreaming, but we could train the model on focus, positive mood, deep meditation, and anything else. What we're looking at here is a foundational technology that, paired with TFUS, gives us the ability to explore the state space of human consciousness. Now, we're getting tantalizingly close to making this a reality. In March, we will have the fully working technical prototype running this model. And if you're interested, whether you're here in the New York City area or anywhere in the world, we're going to attach a type form to this thread, and you can sign up to be an early beta user. Now, what's exciting about this is if you're early on that list, it is very possible that you will be the first person to have the first ultrasonically induced lucid dream. You're not the first person to step foot on the moon, but you are potentially the first person to step foot in a dream world, in the dream world that we all go to every night. But this time, we're there to stay and to unlock that dream world in a lucid fashion, which gives you the ability to create conscious experiences of your own at will. Now, I just want to take a moment to thank my co-founder, Wes, who really is the brains behind this. We maybe had the same vision, but he has been working tirelessly to achieve it. And I also want to thank the rest of the team who's worked tirelessly to achieve this. Now, Morpheus 1 is 100 million parameters, but we're already collecting more neuroimaging data. And we will continue to launch Morpheus 2, 3, 4, etc. And we'll expect quite a swelling both of parameter count and increases in accuracy. So we're just getting started. We hope that you'll join us as a beta user. We hope you enjoyed what is the demo of the world's first ultrasonic transformer, Morpheus 1. We'll talk to you soon.
So now that you've seen that, okay, now we're going to talk about the hardware of this, because there was this really cool video where they documented exactly what was going on. So take a look at how the hardware actually works, because I find that when people are going to be interacting with the stuff, I find that, the hardware side is really, really important. And the good thing about this technology is that it is non-invasive, meaning that, you don't need any implants, you don't need anything embedded into your skin. It's just literally like a VR headset that you can wear. So take a look at this.
So here it is. We worked with Card79, who's the design firm that did Neuralink for Elon. I guess I have to put it on. You got your EEG sensors, ultrasound transducers that actually do the transcranial focused ultrasound. And then you have the neural chip that deals with the EEG and the battery, 8+ hours, so that, you can get through sleep. It's a profound technology, and it should be beautiful. And you should look at yourself, even if it's right before you go to bed, the last thing, the image you have of yourself is wearing this thing, and the profundity of what's about to happen is also expressed through the design of it. The way this is gonna work, you put this on, you start the session, you go to sleep. The EEG says, okay, Eric's entered REM. Then the transducers turn on and mimic that neural firing pattern of a natural occurring lucid dream, which is actually the thing that induces the lucid dream. And those transducers are multi-element, so we have steering. But we can go left, right, up, down, and then we can adjust the actual lens of the transducer to get depth. So we have this XYZ axis to mimic millimeter level of precision across that XYZ axis all over the prefrontal cortex, which is what's activated in a lucid dream.
So yeah, some of the crazy stuff that they've discussed is honestly mind-blowing, because I wasn't really aware of this stuff, but this could be really, really crazy if it actually does work. Now, one of the things that is pretty crazy about this is that if it does work, it will have wide-scale usage. Now, before I talk about the wide-scale usage, I want to talk about some similar technology, very similar technology, that does have crazy applications. So maybe you've been browsing Twitter recently and maybe you did see this, but if you didn't, I'll give you guys a quick rundown. Now, I can't play the entire thing due to copyright, but I promise you guys, this is one of the most fascinating videos I've watched in recent times. And this is pretty crazy. So essentially, this video right here is a 2-minute video from 60 minutes, okay? And essentially, I'll give you guys a quick rundown of the video. So in this video, they talk about how they have this guy, right? Okay, so this guy right here at the start of the video, this guy is a drug addict, okay? He's been using drugs since he was around 7 years old, and he's had a pretty bad childhood. Now, of course, the problem is that they want to, help him. They want to make sure that he becomes better. They don't want him to be an addict anymore. So essentially what they do is they take him to this place, essentially where they start to analyze his brain signals, okay? And what they are able to do is they're able to essentially, by using this technology, they were able to, show him some images of needles, and then they were able to identify where his brain, was spiking, which, area of his brain was going off, and then they were like, okay, we need to essentially ensure that this doesn't happen again. So here you can see that they're showing him the images, these images that trigger his addiction, and essentially once they show him these images, of course his brain activity that leads him to commit and continue this addiction does spike. Then of course, after the treatment, he talks about how he feels that he's pretty much no longer addicted. Anytime he feels the need, anytime he sees anything that used to trigger him, it doesn't trigger him anymore. So essentially they just cured this man in around an hour of treatment by using this new technology to be able to completely transform how someone's brains work. So I think this was pretty crazy, because this guy literally said that this was the best day of my life. And I mean, we can literally just talk about how crazy this is, because if this stuff is, FDA approved, if it is being able to be wide scale deployed, because it is non-invasive, it is something that also doesn't take long. This guy literally just went in there for an hour. This could be revolutionary in terms of the healthcare system. We know that, people who suffer from chronic addictions are definitely a strain on many of the health systems around the world. And of course, they do put a strain on many of the essential services that exist within our society. So something like this could definitely be revolutionary if it is applied to many different things. Now, of course, right now, Prophetic's aim is, of course, to do this with lucid dreaming. And of course, the technology I talked about there is a little bit different in terms of what it aims to accomplish. But the point is, and the point does remain, that if this does work, and even in the video where he, shows us the slide and he talks about different things, he also discusses about that, this is not just a lucid dreaming company, we are a conscious experiences company. So it means that potentially we could have a scenario where this technology is used to induce other things. So for example, like he talks about, it could be, used to induce focus. That's how I've got this image here of someone who's not being able to focus at work. There's many different ways that this could be used. And of course, that does bring up the topic of these brain-computer interfaces. Now, of course, that does bring up the topic of Neuralink, because he did actually talk about how they use the same company that Elon Musk uses, and I do think that that is really fascinating, which goes to show that their hardware is definitely going to be something that is pretty good. But I think that although Neuralink is definitely completely different, because it's a brain-computer interface that is essentially an implant that is implanted into your brain and is much more invasive, I think that this is going to have much more adoption initially than Neuralink, because how many people are you going to be able to get to put on a headset versus how many people are you going to be able to get to implant something into their brain? And I think that is a really important part. And although whilst they definitely will both achieve different things, I know that Neuralink's main focus is to be able to, control things with your mind, which is a completely different thing. I think being able to change your mind on certain things and certain topics for your benefit, like not being addicted to drugs anymore, or being able to lucid dream, or being able to activate certain regions of the brain, is definitely absolutely incredible. So I think that Neuralink's initial focus on medical applications is really good. I think that if we then allow that technology to extend to cognitive enhancement, including improving focus and learning capabilities, could be really, really fascinating. So what was also interesting was that Elon Musk recently did tweet as well that the first Neuralink product is called Telepathy, enables control of your phone or computer through them almost any device just by thinking, and initial users will be those who have lost the use of their limbs. And imagine if Stephen Hawking could communicate faster than a speed typist or auctioneer. That is the goal. So I think that this is why I say that this is going to be a complete game changer, because whilst there are LLMs, multimodal stuff, I think this kind of thing, if it does really work, and if we do get to that level where you can just use this, you want to be absolutely focused, boom, you turn that on, your brain is like literally focused. And if we do get to the area where you have this technology that can literally just, after a 1 hour session, someone who's an addict, boom, they're no longer an addict, they're out. That is going to really, the changes are going to be so good for society. I mean, there are so many people that struggle with issues, and I think it'll be really good. So let me know what you think about Neuralink. Let me know what you think about Prometheus or Morpheus 1. I think that this is truly fascinating. I won't be ordering this because I'm not too much a fan of lucid dreaming. I'd rather just go to sleep. But I still do find this technology to be pretty fascinating. And they do say that they're going to be shipping in around a couple of months or so, around, I think 5 months or so, in around summertime. So that should be fascinating to see how it goes. And I wonder how the lucid dreaming community will take this in, because we do know that they have around 526,000 people on Reddit that are going to be, pretty big, users of this if it does, come to fruition that it does actually work. But it will be interesting. And let me know what you think about, the AI, mind reading, all of this kind of AI stuff. Are you guys for it? Are you guys against it? And some people did actually talk about how, with Neuralink and with all these brain treatments, you could essentially use this for bad. But I think that is an argument with any technology that we do have. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think about this. I think this does have the potential to be a revolutionary product if it is widely adopted, but I would love to see how this product evolves in the future. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think.